In the glittering world of entertainment, where fame and fortune seem to materialize overnight and careers can vanish just as quickly, persistent rumors have circulated about a darker side to stardom. For decades, conspiracy theorists have claimed that the entertainment industry is controlled by occult forces, secret societies, and shadowy organizations that demand allegiance from those seeking success. From mysterious symbols in music videos to bizarre performances at award shows, from cryptic statements by celebrities to tragic deaths shrouded in mystery, the evidence is vast.
This is Cryptic Accounts. By paranoid people. For paranoid people. Cryptic Accounts.
Welcome to Cryptic Accounts, a podcast by paranoid people for paranoid people. I'm Patrick Ryan. This is Dennis Cheney.
What up?
We're back. We're still on one camera.
Yes.
So I can't, I feel weird trying to do any kind of talk to everybody.
Why are people talking about us being a one-camera show?
No, I don't know what
okay.
he's talking about. Just like normally I can vamp a little bit and talk.
Yeah.
Based on how we do it, like back from the Zoom days or the bigger studio days.
Oh yeah.
Where it was the camera was focused on me and there was not a feel of everyone.
Way.
It keeps us on our toes, definitely, because there's no moments to look away or do anything else that they're not going to see.
No.
Except for the audio people. We love the audio people. Because they can't see what's going on at all.
No, we love them.
They're the best. Who knows?
We're just two 7-foot tall ripped dudes who love the audio people.
One of those things is true about you. One of those things is true about me.
We're swarthy.
Dude, this week we're getting into something that I'm actually surprised. I don't think we've ever really delved into. I think we've hinted at it on the show, and it's maybe come up in past episodes, but we've never done anything really dedicated to this topic.
Nope. Not that I remember.
Which is kind of crazy based on how much we've talked about it.
Oh, and how prevalent this is, like in the media. And
yes.
So, yeah.
It felt, I mean, I don't want to call it low-hanging fruit, but it is definitely.
Sometimes it is, because a lot of this stuff is like TikToks.
Yes.
I just noticed that Katy Perry did that. You know what I mean? Like, but.
Well, follow us on TikTok. They're the ones that seem to hate us the least. So shout out to TikTok right now because they sort of don't censor us as much.
And drop a like and a subscribe.
Share.
Rate the show.
Yes, please rate it if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That helps us a ton. Sharing the show helps exponentially. Going and following us on social media, at Cryptic Accounts, most places, Instagrams, Cryptic Accounts Close. Basically, if you just type in Cryptic Accounts, we're going to come up. Except for Twitter, which is Accounts Cryptic, because I don't really remember why we have to do it that way.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know the Gmail's weird because we couldn't put accounts at the end of our Gmail.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're Cryptic A Podcast at Gmail if you want to email us. Go to the website, crypticaccounts.com. Support the show if you can. We appreciate it. We'd love to do more of this stuff. We'd love to have a bigger budget. This is very grassroots, so anything you can do helps us very much. Cryptocurrency or cash, we accept both. The support the show page, the link on the website will get you there. But we don't expect that. Honestly, if you've been a loyal fan, and we know there's a fair amount of you out there, like, share, subscribe, share it with somebody. Like, that helps us more than anything because we're heavily suppressed everywhere we do this. Because we don't have a big budget to pay our way through all that stuff.
Nope.
With that being said, let's see if we can make it worse for ourselves.
Okay, let's go. Let's dive.
Let's just go right at Hollywood and the Illuminati and all of them all at once. And just see if we can't get sequestered even more than we already are.
Sounds good, bro.
So I'm going to jump right into it. October 16th, 2024. Liam Payne fell to his death from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires.
Oh, yeah.
He was 31 years old. By December of last year, 5 people had been charged in connection with his death. Hotel employees, a friend, others who investigators believe played a role in what happened that night are all on that.
How many different people could be involved in you falling?
I don't know.
Okay.
Everything I read, though, is like all these people are suspects. And I'm just like, okay.
Was it like a drug-fueled party?
Well,
Got a little tipsy.
No, he actually, and I'll jump ahead to that a little bit. Really not anything in his system. A little bit of stuff, but not.
What shows was he on again?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. I thought,
no. I feel like I had that, and then I took it out for some reason. I was just like, oh, everybody knows who this is. He was a songwriter. One Direction.
Oh,
I don't know why I took that out. He was One Direction.
that's right. Oh, how weird. What
Yeah.
a weird way for a boy band member to meet their fate.
Well,
Any one of us could.
it did get categorized as an overdose, but also it's
I'm
kind
just
of
gonna listen. I'm just gonna listen.
so they ruled out suicide on this whole thing.
Okay.
Or I probably should go back and bleep that. Honestly, I feel like I can't say that word.
You can. It's fine.
But it left more questions than answers. So it's different than your typical like celebrity overdose story because Liam had actually been talking about the darker side of Hollywood and the entertainment industry, the music industry specifically, for years leading up to this.
Oh, okay. Good for him.
So industry pressures, control mechanisms, what he called handlers who managed every aspect of his life. And he wasn't the first to make this claim. And I really doubt he's going to be the last one.
That is, I have noticed this. Okay, you know how like Britney Spears had that receivership or whatever?
Conservatorship.
Yeah. Now they're talking about doing it to Justin Bieber, who is a grown man.
Wait, I hadn't heard this about Justin Bieber.
Yeah. But I always thought that was funny because it's like, how many people do you know? And you don't have to actually answer this, but just for everyone here, everyone watching, how many people do you know, like in your family or you've just known who are like crazy? And it's so hard to get them committed or to do
Yes.
anything. But it seems like with rich people who have connections to like these industries, it seems like oddly easy to like take all their stuff and like it's almost like they are like pre-owned. Like because the minute they start stepping out of line, you know, and that's an incredibly hard thing to do to just somebody.
Yeah.
I know people who make crazy TikToks and like, you know, I know they're
Yes.
bat guano insane, and it's like I can't just go take their stuff.
Yeah. That's
And their parents probably couldn't either because they're grown people.
yes, it's very hard to do that to an average person.
So
And his death adds another name to a list that's getting harder and harder to ignore. Like this isn't the first celebrity that this has happened to where it's just like weird suspicious death. Oddly they'd been talking about the industry quite a bit negatively and then all of a sudden they OD'd. Or they fall from, a lot of falling from balconies.
that's how Putin kills people.
Yes.
That's like the way you kill people is have them fall from a high place.
Yeah, because I mean it's hard to prove.
It's a great way to kill somebody. Dude.
Yeah, did
Push
they?
them off the Disney cruise line or take them
Yep.
hiking out of a hotel room window. Yeah, it's incredibly hard to prove anything,
Yeah, you got.
especially if they have something in their system.
Yep. Yep. And if you put something in their system right before they fell out a window,
Yeah,
the case closed. Like nobody's even going to look at it that hard. It's kind of an easy way to get rid of somebody. We did not fall out of a window.
yeah.
So, young entertainers dying under suspicious circumstances after speaking about industry secrets is nothing out of the ordinary. Like it's a pretty common thing. When you start looking at that pattern, though, really looking at it, you realize we're not talking about isolated incidences or coincidences. So we're talking about a system that operates on levels most people never see or understand. Tonight, we're going to examine the documented evidence of what really is happening in the entertainment industry. The occult symbolism hidden in plain sight, the secret society connections, and the very real price celebrities appear to pay for fame. So, because when you connect the dots between mysterious deaths, bizarre performances, and the symbols that keep showing up across our entertainment landscape, a picture emerges. And that's not a picture the industry wants you to fully see.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, again, this is one that I'm just like, how have we not? Dude, it took me so long to put this together because there's so much stuff and to like organize it in a way that I felt made sense. I maybe part of why it's never been covered on this
Well,
show.
that's because despite a lot of this being true, and like it's undeniably true that there's a lot of like Satanism and occult stuff in Hollywood. That's undeniable. Despite that, this is also like very low hanging fruit because everybody it's a lot easier to get clicks and views and talk about it when it's like Beyonce than it is like some random Nazi in Argentina.
Yes.
So there's so much trash that's made about this,
Yes.
and there's so much like fake stuff, and there's so much sensationalism that like it could just be exhausting. Even though there's undeniable truth to it,
Yeah, it does
so
get exploited a lot.
it's really hard to dig through.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much. And to try and organize it in a way like we do with this show was really hard. Like, I think this might be version 4 or 5 of this
We've
script.
been working on this for a while.
A couple months.
We were
now.
in a different studio when
Yes.
we started working on this. Yeah.
But before we dive into specific cases, let's establish something important. This isn't just internet conspiracy theory anymore. There's actually serious academic research behind this now and this whole phenomenon. And the findings are more disturbing than people realize.
Okay.
And this is what really caught for me. So, Dr. Alyssa R. Henken is a folklorist at the University of Georgia. In 2013, she published a study called, quote, How Did He Get So Famous? Illuminati and the Pop Star.
There you
is
go.
what the study's called. So what she found was that 25% of her students had heard about Illuminati connections to celebrities, not from fringe websites, but from mainstream cultural conversations. Churches, community groups, places where people take these things seriously enough to change their behavior. So one example from her research really stood out. She documented a pastor in Georgia who stood in front of his congregation and told them that Kanye West's success came at a price. The pastor said, and I quote, the reason Kanye West was so successful as of late, circa 2010, he became really big about 2 years ago. And that's because he joined the ranks of the Illuminati. And in doing so, his pastor kindly told him he sacrificed his mother.
Ooh.
Now, most academics dismiss this as modern folklore, urban legends for digital age. But here's what makes this really significant. This wasn't whispered in some dark corner of the internet. This was a preacher from a pulpit to a congregation of believers who took it seriously. And here's where it gets really interesting, Dennis.
Okay.
Hold the suspense for a second. Years later, Kanye himself would say something that should make everyone pay attention. In his own words, and I quote, my mama ain't here. My mama was sacrificed. I'm the kind of person where if I sit down and I talk, I'm a talk. I'm going to tell the truth.
Oh. Oh.
Think about that.
Called it. I've always wondered with stuff like this where the truth comes out. Like, what's the leaky part? Because for every conspiracy, there's somebody like 10 years before who's like, this is happening, and word just spreads until your preachers talk about it or whatever, and it's just like, where's the leaky part?
And then like 7 years later, the person you're talking about comes out and says it.
Right.
Yeah. So think about that. A pastor warns his congregation that Kanye sacrificed his mother for success, and then Kanye himself used the exact same word, sacrificed. Not died, not passed away, sacrificed. That's not folklore, that's testimony.
Right.
And it's coming from 2 completely independent sources, one of whom is the person who would definitely know.
Weird.
So the modern concept of Illuminati control gained traction through evangelical writings like Pat Robertson's The New World Order in 1991, which at some point I kind of think we need to rip this book apart a little bit. I'm sure you remember that growing up. Like my parents were definitely aware of all this for sure. And say what you want about Pat Robertson, it's a mixed bag.
The 90s was definitely like The 90s and early 2000s was like the tail end of like a certain type of evangelicalism.
Well, the other thing you got to keep in mind when this stuff's getting written, this is when the UN really started coming out
Oh,
with their plan.
NAFTA, the
Yes. The
UN.
UN started becoming very open when you really look into like their writing and the language they were using.
It's right after the Gulf
Yep.
War when Bush came out and said this is a new world order.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, in this book in 1991, Pat Robertson described, quote, a secret society engaged in a conspiracy to control world affairs and create the New World Order, which itself is understood to entail replacing the established Christian order of Western nations with an atheistic, socialist, global government. Which, my qualm with that is it's not atheistic. I don't think that's the right term for it. Because if you go biblical with it, it's a one world religion. It's not atheistic. They do think there's a God. They just don't have the
Yeah,
Christian
they
God.
can't come out and say that though.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a meshing from what I'm seeing and what I'm putting together. It's going to be kind of a mangle of like a lot of world religions. Like I think is kind of how it's going to be blended. And we see that coming together with things like the Pope getting, like, I think that was last year where he got all the different religious leaders together.
Right.
I mean, the UK's been doing it.
It's gonna start as like a kind of secularism.
Yeah, and maybe that's when he says atheistic. That I get what he means, but I don't think. And given this is 1991, so I get where he's coming from, and I'm not trying to blast him for that too hard.
Well, okay, this is maybe an aside. I was watching some the other day. I saw a meme and then I went and started looking around. And it was about how it was more like an infographic. It was about how monotheism like exploded the world's population. And it was the world's population from like as far back as we can count to like the Roman Empire, and then the Roman Empire became monotheistic,
Hmm.
and then that's when population just started exploding because there was like a Christian order in the world. So because even when the Roman Empire fell, like all of the European countries were at least tied together with Christianity.
Yeah.
There's first it was the Pope, and then it was you have Charlemagne, and then you have like you just have like a cultural understanding, and yeah, there's wars and stuff among them, but like there was like a world order that was partially based in
Well, it became a national religion at that point too.
yeah. So when you make anyway, keep going, but
So whether you believe in specific Illuminati narrative or not, the underlying concern is very real. There are documented patterns of occult symbolism, mysterious deaths, and industry control mechanisms that deserve serious investigation. And when you examine the evidence with the same rigor you'd apply to any other conspiracy, the results are deeply unsettling. So let's start with arguably the most documented case of alleged occult symbolism in modern entertainment. And that's from Jay-Z.
okay. Yeah, because he's just open about calling stuff the Illuminati.
Kind of, yeah. He has a lot. He puts symbolism in almost everything he does. The evidence here, it's not really speculative. It's photographed, recorded, and publicly displayed. And it tells a story that goes far beyond coincidence or artistic expression. In 2009, the trailer for Jay-Z's music video, Run This Town, showed him wearing a hoodie with a very specific phrase, do what thou wilt.
Ruh-roh.
And this isn't some vague symbol that could be interpreted multiple ways. This is the official dictum of Aleister Crowley's Ordo Templis Orientis, a Hermetic order modeled after Freemasonry. It's the central tenet of Crowley's religion of Thelema. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
So, for those unfamiliar with Crowley, he was one of the most influential occultists of the 20th century. He practiced ritual magic, founded the religion of Thelema, and was known for his involvement in various secret societies. His philosophy centered on the idea that individuals should follow their true will, without moral constraints, hence, do what thou wilt. For Jay-Z to prominently display this phrase wasn't an accident or a fashion statement. It was a declaration.
Why is it always the same? That's where I start questioning this stuff.
It is all the same, and that's where I kind of tie it all together. Because I've tried to explain this to people, and they're like, that's just like a thing. And then I'll give them like 7 more examples,
Well,
and they're like, that's kind of weird.
yeah, it's like just in general, you'll have an artist come out and do something like, who's that guy who had like the blood in the shoes? Was it Lil Nas X?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to get to that too. No, go ahead and talk
So
about it.
you'll have like something like that, and then everyone will just be like, "Oh, that's just like a celebrity being weird," and it's just like, or you'll see some like concert thing from like Lady Gaga, and it'll be like demonic, and they'll be like, "That's just like her motif," but it's like, why do they all have the exact same motif? Like it's not just your artistic expression of like every single one of you.
Oh, wait till you hear how close Lady Gaga and Marina Abramovich are.
Oh, I'm sure they seem very
and
similar.
if you've been listening for a while, you're probably already aware of that episode. But as we go further into this, go find, and it's just titled Marina Abramovich. I don't think there was any kind of title to that episode, just about her. We're going to get into her later. But side note, pause this, go listen to that, go watch that, because, whew.
Yeah. At a certain point, this just, no matter how you, that was weird. At a certain point, this just is the culture.
Yes.
And we've said this a million times on the show. Like, you could be like, oh, that's just an artist. That's just an artist. But like, if they're all doing it and it's all uniform and it's always the same message, it's always an upside down cross, it's always like some satanic crap. If they're all doing it, then like, even if it is just entertainment, it's like you have replaced the culture with that. And then when somebody criticizes it, it's just like, oh, it's just fun. It's like, no, it's like, it's so prevalent that that's the culture. So like, I'm critiquing the culture.
Yeah, and that's a good way to sum up everything that we're about to go.
Okay,
through,
I'll just
honestly.
shut
No,
up.
like you nailed it right there. No, don't shut up.
Okay.
Like that was spot on. So for Jay-Z to prominently display this phrase, again, wasn't an accident, fashion statement, declaration. Then there's the rock sign, the diamond shape that Jay-Z makes with his hands, which I don't know if you know is this.
Okay.
He does this a lot.
Freemasonry.
Well, I mean, you know what the Freemason symbol looks like.
Yeah.
It's the pointers with the eye in the middle. He does this a lot. Like that's the symbol for his record label or whatever. Yeah, we did it.
We're part of it.
Now we're in.
There's at least one viewer who's like, yep, that's it.
Look, we're not in it, all right? We're not in it.
If we were in it, we wouldn't be pleading with you to like our channel.
Yeah, no kidding. We'd be huge already because they'd have pushed us to the front. So he claims it represents his record label, Rockefeller Records, and in his 2010 book, Decoded, he addresses this directly. But here's the thing. The symbol appears in contexts that have nothing to do with Rockefeller Records. Other artists have adopted similar gestures, and the symbol bears a striking resemblance to pyramid imagery associated with secret societies. The 2010 music video for On to the Next One reads like a catalog of occult symbolism. A skull, interpreted as a reference to the Skull and Bone Society. A goat head, interpreted as Baphomet imagery.
It's always Baphomet, dude.
There's a lot of goat heads
Yeah.
in a lot of pop culture stuff. There's extensive use of black and white dualism, which is very commonly associated with Freemasonry. The checkerboard.
Interesting.
Mirrored imagery, horned figures. Each symbol appears deliberately and prominently, not as a background decoration, but as a central visual effect. And if you've seen that video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's not subtle. It's right up in front. We're showing you this for a couple seconds intentionally. What makes this particularly significant is the response from Jay-Z's circle. Rather than dismissing the symbolism as coincidental, they've often embraced it. Beyonce directly addressed Illuminati conspiracy theories in her 2016 song, Formation, with lyrics like, quote, "Y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess." But addressing the theories isn't the same as denying them, and the symbolism has only increased since then. Their 2018 album, Everything is Love, features Beyonce wearing a headdress reminiscent of the Egyptian goddess Isis on the cover. Egyptian symbolism has deep connection to occult traditions, particularly in Freemasonry and other secret societies. The choice to use such imagery, especially given the ongoing theories, suggests either a deliberate embrace of occult symbolism or a remarkably tone deafness to public perception. But here's what makes Jay-Z's case particularly important. It's not just about one artist. It's about how occult symbolism has become normalized and even celebrated in mainstream entertainment. When one of the most successful artists in history can openly display Crowley's philosophy and Egyptian goddess imagery without significant mainstream criticism, it suggests a cultural shift that goes far beyond individual artistic choices.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just, they've pushed it so much, it's not even weird anymore.
No. You know what would be really interesting? In a country with like hundreds of millions of Christians, why is there never a Christian pop song? It's always the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never. You're telling me, okay, people listen to this stuff.
Well, there is some crossovers, and we could, at some point, we could go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, but usually it's like people start that way and then they go down this road.
Katy Perry's one of those.
Yeah.
She was Katie. We're gonna get to her. I forget what her. Ooh, Katie. It's not Holland. She was a Christian pop singer at first.
You would just think
Then
it.
she came out with "I Kissed a Girl" and I liked it.
Yeah. You would just think it would be more prevalent.
And then you've got guys like Kirk Franklin who go the opposite direction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's doing songs with. Man, it's not Doja Cat. Who did he do something with? Um, we may do an episode on Christian questionable artists at some point. Honestly,
Okay. What I'm saying is, why is it this type of thing is way more prevalent and funded and successful than like, and people always say, I think a lot of music, I'm an old dude now, so like, I think a lot of music is just straight up trash, but people will be listening to a song about like, I don't know, a couple years ago there was like this huge hit about this dude who's like married, but he's like off having gay sex. Like, and I remember asking a friend, I was like, I don't like that song. And then she's like, why? And I was like, oh, because I just think it's gross. Like, it's hard to listen to that. And she's like, well, it's just catchy. And it's like, well, if it's just about it being catchy.
The amount of things they're doing with beats and frequencies.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. My point is, before you move on, my point is, if it's just catchy and it's just, again, like I said earlier, if it's just like artistic expression, why does it go that way? If it's just about the beat, how come there's not more like positive, uplifting songs that have the same beats or the same? Because it's not about that. You're not just listening to that because you think it's catchy. You say it's catchy as an excuse because you like the content. It does something in your brain. It's like you like that message. There's something about that. And I told her that.
Well,
yeah.
On that note, do you know why though? So we did an episode a long time ago, which I don't fully agree with where we went with it at that point, but I left it up because the research was good. Binaural beats are in pop music. They're doing things with frequencies.
Oh, I'm sure.
Frequencies affect the brain. We know that from things like elf waves to everything else we've covered on this show.
Why wouldn't you use that?
And that's why people say it is catchy, but it's because it's actually doing something to your brain.
If you're like $1 billion industry and that research exists, why wouldn't you use it?
You're using it.
Yeah, 100%.
You're definitely using it.
Yeah.
They are using it.
I know.
So the pattern extends far beyond just visual symbolism. Jay-Z's business empire includes partnerships and investments that connect to organizations with documented occult interests. His streaming service Tidal has promoted artists known for explicit occult themes. His various business ventures often incorporate symbolic elements that align with secret society imagery. And this normalization is the real story. We've reached a point where occult symbolism in entertainment isn't controversial, it's actually kind of expected. It's marketed, it's profitable, and that should concern anyone who understands the spiritual implications of what we're actually consuming. But Jay-Z isn't operating in isolation. There are other artists who've taken the symbolism even further, and their stories reveal just how deep this pattern goes. So while Jay-Z might be the most documented case, he's far from the only artist displaying occult symbolism. In fact, There's a whole generation of performers who seem to be competing to see who can be more blatant about their alleged connection to dark forces. Take Lil Wayne. So in 2013, he got a tattoo of the Eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye, right on his face.
Okay.
This symbol, often associated with Freemasonry and secret societies, was seen by many as a clear sign of his allegiance. But it wasn't just the tattoo. Wayne's lyrics have been touching on dark themes for years, with frequent references to demons and the devil. In his song John, he raps, "I'm in the crib, buck naked, something. She said, my aura is amazing." And he's actually talked about, this was in one of the earlier scripts. I didn't put it in this one. There are several artists that talk about something called Rain Man.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Do
Little
explain.
Little Wayne talks about it. Eminem talks about it. Jay-Z's talked about it. Eminem had lyrics where I've become this thing that I didn't. What was it? I became this thing that I didn't expect. I'm the devil. Like, they talk about this thing taking them over.
Ugh.
Cardi B, and maybe I'll post it if I can find the interview. There's an interview of her where she's talking about there's this boy inside her that takes over. And in the interview, her facial expressions change and her voice changes.
Ugh.
And there's this thing that comes out through her, and that's where her inspiration comes from.
Reminds me of another recent show we did.
Yes.
Which I don't. Yeah. Where we had a video of a 11-year-old girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. Terrence Howard, the guy from Hustle and Flow, talks about before he goes in to do an acting scene, he goes into a bathroom and turns off the lights and stares in the mirror, and something else takes him over before he acts.
Dang.
And that's a very common theme with artists where, like, they'll talk about there's this thing inside me that just comes out when I perform. And that sounds a lot to me like a demon possession.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something is inhabiting them, whether it's temporary or permanent, I don't know. But Lil Wayne's talked about it. Jay-Z's talked about it. There's a bunch of songs talking about it. You got things like Cardi B where she's talking about this boy that takes her over. And they become different people when they do this. Beyonce's gone into weird trances like this. There's videos of her doing weird trances.
There's all those videos of people like glitching.
Yes. Yeah, there's some weird stuff with Katy Perry in that regard.
Yeah, there's a few like actresses and even like news people, like just people in general in entertainment. They like kind of like it's like they reset or something comes into them, or there's like an update happening in their brain. Like,
oh yeah, with Katy Perry with the eye twitch thing on stage.
Yeah,
where like she can't control her eye and she's like doing this to it, like touching.
That to me, like our possession episode, it's like something. It's like you're their puppet. It's like it's trying to get
full control,
get its little arm in there, right? So it
so it can manipulate you,
right?
So Lil Wayne's rapid fire delivery and seemingly superhuman work ethic, at one point releasing hundreds of songs in a single year, led some to speculate about supernatural assistance. His claim to be a Martian in several songs has been interpreted by some as an admission of non-human origins or influence. Then, what you were talking about earlier, Lil Nas X, who took a completely different approach. Instead of hiding alleged occult connections, he seemed to embrace them openly. His music video for Montero, Call Me By My Name, which that seems like a demon thing right there.
Yeah.
Featured explicit demonic imagery, including a lap dance with Satan himself. While some dismissed this as a marketing ploy or commentary on religious hypocrisy, others saw it as a more overt display of industry influence.
It's always a critique. It's always about hypocrisy. It's like, well, then when does the good stuff start?
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do? What do you know? It's like people who manifest things. You never meet somebody who like manifests. Oh, I'm just on a diet right now because I'm manifesting world peace. It's always like,
yeah,
I'm trying to manifest money.
Yes, that's the main
or
thing.
bad things for my ex, or you know, it's like, dude, you can't. Never mind. Whatever. I'm not gonna preach. Not yet. Yeah. It's always aimed. It's always like anti-Christian. There's not actually. That's kind of what I meant by secular. Like,
Yes, and that's a very common thing. Like you don't hear artists go very anti-Muslim
no,
or very anti-Buddhist.
no.
It's always angled at Christianity.
It's about dismantling like the social norm,
Yes,
which they're doing a pretty good job at.
they are doing a great job.
Yeah.
So, as you were mentioning earlier, the satanic shoes, which is what they were called from Little Nas X. They were the 666
It's just
shoes.
a marketing scheme.
Yes. Allegedly, they can. And I don't know if you knew this part. Each pair allegedly contained a drop of human blood in every pair.
Yes.
The limited edition of there were only 666 pairs made was an obvious nod to satanic symbolism. The fact that the video sparked widespread controversy but didn't derail Nas X's career has been seen by some as evidence of protection from powerful forces. Then there's Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, who I've never heard of.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Lil Uzi.
Made headlines. Yeah, say that real quick, actually.
What?
Say his name.
Lil Uzi?
Lil Uzi Vert.
Lil Uzi Vert.
What's that sound
Lucifer. Oh.
Lil Uzi Vert.
It's a little
It's like a fun little wordplay right there.
Yeah.
He made 24 mil. He had a 24 million pink diamond implanted right in his forehead. It's that guy. I don't know if you've seen him.
No.
Yeah, it was big. He looks really weird. And some theorists saw this as an actual occult ritual, with the diamond representing the all-seeing eye or the third eye of spiritual enlightenment. Uzi's fascination with the number 666 and his often dark, occult-themed lyrics have further fueled these speculations. His album, Eternal Atake, features themes of space and alien abduction, which some interpret as coded reference to supernatural influence. The rapper's stage name itself, like I said, when you say it real quick, sounds like Lucifer.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Lil Uzi Vert. Lil Uzi Vert.
Sounds like either Little Lucifer or Hail Lucifer, or like Little
Mhm.
Lil Uzi. Yeah.
Mhm.
Lil Uzi Vert. The arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
Oh man, at some point we need to release the warm-ups of this show, the vocal warm-ups. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Yes.
But perhaps the most surprising addition to this list, and this is probably going to be the one that upsets a lot
Not
of-
Kirk Cameron.
No. No. Taylor Swift.
Oh. Well, duh.
Well, the thing is,
I know she kind of has a more wholesome.
the amount of Christians I know
Oh, yeah.
that embrace her.
She has a compared to these people, she's like squeaky clean image.
Well, unless you look at what she does in live performances.
Oh, okay. Which you couldn't pay me to go see, but okay.
So her recent Eras tour has sparked a new wave of theories, particularly around her performance of the song Willow. During this segment, Swift and her dancers wear black capes and dance with orbs, incorporating elements that some interpret as witchcraft rituals.
It's always weird stuff. It's never like a firework display.
No,
Go watch like a Michael Jackson.
it looks like a witch seance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot. Like
even her. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you love Taylor Swift. Even her. I listened to most of her newest album
oh damn it.
because I was like, I've never just sat down. It was like when it was the biggest thing in the world, and it was all the Travis Kelce and the Eras tour, and my mom was like sending me songs and stuff.
Look, Shake It Off is pretty good.
So one night I just sat down and I like went on the porch. I had a cigar and I listened to like basically that new Poet Society or whatever it's called.
Okay. Have not listened to it.
I mean, look, it's very lame, or whatever, but like, she's so negative.
Yes.
Even she is like it's everything in our culture is so negative.
Mhm.
It's so like my haters and you did this to me and like it's just like even positive song, even like Shake It Off isn't.
Oh, it's not really a positive song if you really
No,
listen.
we don't have positivity anymore.
No.
It's like I'm not gonna eat the best version of positive the popular culture has now is like the haters can't get me down. There always has to be like an enemy or there's nothing like just just exclusively positive, exclusively like, it's almost like it's killing art in a way. Like,
Yeah,
every rapper pops up on my like TikTok. Like, dude, like it's all the same thing, dude. It's all about haters. It's all about. There's nothing that's just like,
I'm gonna start sending you like Bryson Gray and stuff.
oh yeah,
It's like we can fix your rap algorithm on Instagram.
I don't like any of this stuff. It's just, yeah.
No, I've sent you Bryson Gray. You like Bryson Gray?
No, I know, but I'm saying like the stuff that people pay to get pumped out. So,
Oh, yeah.
so out of nowhere, you're like, why am I seeing this dude 30 times for a week and then I never see him again?
The same reason they're not seeing us is because they have money behind them.
Yeah. And then people go, you control your algorithm. It's like, really? Like, really? Like, to an extent.
Yeah, I
know, like, it's like there's a reason why people. Dude, if you're on TikTok with 100 followers, it starts asking you to pay them money.
Yep.
So it's like, those people aren't controlling seeing that. You don't control everything you see. Like, people just outright pay to promote their stuff.
Yep.
So that's why you'll see these people for like a week or two, and then they'll
Yep.
disappear forever. And even though you've seen them a million times, it doesn't show you them anymore. It's
Nope.
because they're, but it's
They stopped paying.
Everything's negative.
Yep. And on Swift, so an exorcist from the Diocese of Nashville, Father Dan Rehill, even warned that Swift's performances could be attracting demonic forces, regardless of her intentions. So we're assuming she doesn't have negative intentions. She claims to be a Christian.
Okay.
A very left-leaning Christian, but she does claim to be a Christian. And he stated,
I believe that.
Whether she knows it or not, she's opening a portal to demonic activity. This highlights how even seemingly innocent artistic expression can be interpreted through an occult lens. And when I see things like her concert where she's like doing things that almost look like a black mass or something,
Mm-hmm.
and Lady Gaga's guilty of the same sort of thing, it's like, especially if you're claiming to be a Christian, you should know.
Yeah, but it's not like she's doing all that herself. You just like.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They all have the same choreographers and like
Handlers.
Yeah.
Also, though, Swift's fascination. I don't know if you picked this up in the little bit that you've tried to follow her and pay attention to what she's doing. She has a real fascination with the number 13.
Yes.
Humongous fascination with the number 13, which she considers lucky. But that's raised eyebrows among many conspiracy theorists because in occult numerology, 13 is often associated with rebellion against the divine order. And her rapid rise to fame and her ability to consistently top charts have led some to speculate about supernatural assistance in that.
At this point, I wouldn't put anything past them.
No, I mean, it's...
If the whole industry's infected, then like even a person who's not trying to be explicitly that is going to get used in some way.
Well, and as we go further into this, the more and more artists that you hear talk about this influence, it gets harder and harder to deny that this is real.
Like, I'd be shocked if Taylor Swift, as much as I'm not really a fan, I'd be shocked if she did like a truly dark, if she was grinding on Satan. That would shock.
Well,
uh-oh.
Have you seen the videos of people that went to her concert not remembering the concert?
Yeah. I think that's because they're on their phone. I think it's a bunch of freaking like 20-year-old girls on their phone.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, or they're just like in a trance.
That part right there.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because they seem to blank out and they'll watch videos that they recorded and they're like, I don't remember this.
There's also just like a lot going on.
Maybe.
Like, I've been to a lot of rock shows that are like in my head probably forever. But like I went to a Shania Twain concert a couple years ago. Probably the only thing I would consider a pop concert I've ever been to. This was like straight up a pop concert. Like, it just tons of choreography, crazy stuff happening, people coming in, graphics and stuff. Like, I could maybe tell you one or two things because it was just like a lot. It's just like every minute there was something new happening. And these are songs I grew up with,
See, that sounds weird to me because like I can go to a concert, I can like give you pretty detailed commentary on like most concerts I've ever been to.
Well, that's because this style was just like the most. Like I could tell you a concert I saw in college and how I thought like the light show was cool because they had like this digital looking like, and I can remember like certain things and what songs were played, but like there was just like a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like every song had like its own. The backdrop was like this giant LCD, so it'd be like this crazy like 1 minute you're on the moon and then you're like at a truck stop on Mars, and then like, oh, she's in this box now, and then she pops out over here, and then these people are here, and then they're not, and then it's just like there's so much stuff going on that it's just hard to like coherently piece it, and then you're just hearing like country songs from the 90s, and it's like there's just like so much going on that it's hard for me to sit down and put like coherently list out like what I witnessed. So like if pop concerts like are every time I see a thing of a pop concert, it looks insane. It looks like they're changing clothes every 3 seconds.
Look, if I spent like over $1,000 to see Taylor Swift, I would like to think that I remember more of that concert.
Yeah, especially if you're a big fan. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It's big fans that are like, I don't.
they're probably in a trance. I'll suspend my disbelief.
No, and I'm not saying you're wrong. That might be all it is. It might be nothing more than that. But also, she's doing these weird things on stage that look like occult practices.
Well, that's probably the game. The game is probably to get you so mixed up and have so much happening that stuff can like. That's what hypnotism is. It like overrides part of your brain, and that way they can like slip things in.
I mean, I didn't really delve into them here. Like we could do. It was so hard to cram this into an episode. But if you look into like the Weeknd's concerts and the weird things he puts on screens when he's on stage.
Oh, it's like subliminal almost.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of words going across. I mean,
It's slipping stuff in by just like overriding your system.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and back to the binaural beats in the audio, like there's so many different layers to what they're doing, I think.
Yeah.
So, what's particularly interesting about all these cases is how they represent different approaches to the same phenomenon. Some artists, like Jay-Z, use subtle symbolism that can be interpreted multiple ways. Others, like Lil Nas X, embrace the controversy openly. And still others, like Taylor Swift, may be unknowingly incorporating the cult, which I'm giving her a lot of grace in this.
We don't want your smoke, Swifties.
No.
We don't want no Swifties.
It's not even really that. It's just like she appears so innocent that it's hard to be like, no, you know what you're doing, and maybe it's because I don't know. That may be a sexist thing that's happening, honestly.
Yeah, but it's so vanilla compared to the other people, dude.
But regardless of their intentions, the pattern is clear. Occult symbolism and themes have become increasingly prevalent in mainstream entertainment. And this normalization is happening at the exact same time that we're seeing an increase in suspicious celebrity deaths and industry control mechanisms. So this is where things get really dark. And it's where the connection between the pastor's warning and Kanye's own words become part of a much larger and more disturbing pattern. So Dr. Henken's research documented several sacrifice narratives circulating in communities across America. Claims that Jennifer Hudson made a deal that included the 2008 murder of her family in exchange for fame and weight loss.
Wow. Just take a walk.
Allegations that...
Have you tried Ozempic?
That seems to be working.
Yeah.
You know they're making foods now that are actually Ozempic like resistant.
I knew we'd find a way. I knew us fatties would find a way.
Like food makers have been like, they're taking this drug that makes them not fat.
This is how we end up becoming aliens. This is how we end up having no sperm. And like we're all gonna be waiting until we're 45 to have kids, and then in the meantime we're just gonna be so full of like pharmaceuticals that it's just gonna become irrelevant.
It's almost like somebody in control wants to reduce the population and is finding creative ways to do it without just nuking everybody.
Yeah.
And that's how they justify it, has been like humane because you chose to do this. You're trans, you're not gonna have kids. You're gay, you're not gonna have kids.
Yeah.
We didn't kill you though, so like we're cool. We're the UN. Klaus Schwab.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yes. Yes. So, allegations that various celebrities had sacrificed family members for success is just like, there's a lot of them. So, stories that most people dismissed as wild theories. But Then you look at the actual timeline of events, and patterns become harder to dismiss. Again, Kanye West's mother, Donda West, died suddenly in 2007 following cosmetic surgery complications. Her death marked a visible shift in Kanye's public behavior and artistry. He became more erratic, more controversial, and significantly more successful. The timing wasn't lost on a lot of people that were paying attention, though. That pastor in Georgia wasn't making up his theory in a vacuum, he was observing a pattern. A beloved family member dies under questionable circumstances, and suddenly the celebrity's career reaches new heights. And he was warning his congregation about what he saw as the spiritual implications of that pattern. And again, years later, Kanye comes out and says, "My mama was sacrificed."
Right.
He wasn't just talking about medical malpractice or tragic circumstances. He was using language that implies intentional action. Combined with his frequent references to industry handlers and attempts to control him, these statements suggest someone trying to communicate something he can't say directly. The sacrifice narrative extends to other high profile cases, though. Whitney Houston's death in 2012, she was found dead in a bathtub at a Beverly Hilton hotel on the eve of the Grammy Awards. The timing alone raised questions that were never satisfactorily answered. Some theorists claim she was sacrificed so that Blue Ivy, Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter, could live.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a big claim that.
plot thickens.
And while that specific theory it really lacks evidence, it is a very prevalent one. The circumstances of Houston's death fit the pattern of suspicious timing and questionable circumstances. Michael Jackson's death in 2009 has been the subject of extensive conspiracy theories claiming he was murdered for trying to leave the Illuminati or expose industry secrets.
I buy that. I've become a Michael Jackson fan. I think the allegations were faked.
Yes.
I do think he was weird. I think he talked way too much about world peace and like racial harmony.
Mhm.
And I think his vibe did not fit what they had planned for the 2010s,
Nope.
which was war and racial division. And he was way too popular and way too
Yep.
talented and way too rich. And he owned way too much catalogs.
Yep.
And I think it's very clear they drugged him up.
Yeah, his was the more I look into it, and I don't know that it'd ever be a specific episode. Like,
I do think he was a freaking weirdo, but
he was weird, but also like based on the things that happened to him, the farther I dig into him, I'm just like, yeah, y'all kind of made him weird though.
Yeah. And he's the guy, he's a perfect example of what I mean when I say everything's negative. Is he was a huge star within our lifetime.
Yep.
And he would sing about like doesn't matter if you're black or white.
He was super positive
he
in
was
almost everything.
Super positive. Even stuff like Thriller, it's like a Halloween song. That's like as dark as he got, you know what
Yep.
I mean? And it's like it's like a B movie. He's got like Vincent Price in it and
Yep.
stuff like that's as dark as he went. And then it's he's like a classical entertainer. And there's just things like that don't exist anymore.
Well, and he'd spoken very publicly about industry corruption and then all the legal battles with his record label.
Oh, yeah.
His final rehearsal for the This Is It tour showed him in good health and spirits, making his sudden death from propofol overdose all the more suspicious.
I think his doctor went to jail.
I believe so, yes. And then are you aware of the 27 Club?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're not aware, the 27 Club phenomena adds another layer to these sacrifice narratives.
It goes all the way back to like blues people.
Mm-hmm. The statistical anomaly of notable musicians dying at the age of 27. And this includes Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse. It's been incorporated into theories claiming these deaths represent ritual sacrifice or possibly the fulfillment of contracts with dark forces. So there's some people that believe that like when these people signed up, they were only going to live to 27 years old.
I'm looking at a list.
They agreed to that. Oh, it's a lot longer list than that.
It's huge.
It's a long list.
I swear there's a lot of actors too.
Yep. I just grabbed some of the like most notable
Jim
ones.
Morrison.
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse. Yeah. Wow. I think even like with like, I don't know.
There's a long list.
Yeah.
So while a 2011 study in the British Medical Journal found no statistical increase in the risk of death for musicians at age 27, theorists that study the methodology, uh, they say that the study's methodology was flawed, and the pattern extends beyond just age 27 to include the significant numbers in occult numerology, which I didn't dig into it. I'd be interested to see how many people died at 33
Oh yeah, I was just thinking that. It's
with the
like you have
Freemason.
certain off ramps that they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's the 2021 Travis Scott Astroworld Festival
Was
tragedy.
the big one.
It's a big one. So it brought sacrifice conspiracy theories into the mainstream conversation. 10 people died and hundreds were injured during a crowd surge, but the circumstances surrounding that event fueled widespread speculation about ritual sacrifice. The festival's entrance was designed as a giant head that attendees walked through. Promotional materials included the phrase, "See you on the other side."
Ruh-roh.
The stage design incorporated imagery that many theorists interpreted as occult symbolism, and Scott's performance continued even as people were dying in the crowd.
Oh
Yeah, did you know that?
no.
He kept going. He didn't stop.
Oh.
As people were like getting trampled, he kept on rapping.
Is that because it was all pre-recorded, or it was a ritual?
It seems more like it was
And he didn't die,
like
right?
he's on
Okay.
stage. He's
Okay.
literally watching this happen in the crowd.
Oh.
He's watching this crowd surge and people fall down and then get trampled over, and he continues to sing, to rap.
That's dark.
According to Facebook, the topic Astro World Sacrifice was trending with 39,000 users discussing it in the days following the tragedy. One TikTok user that has over 20,000 followers claimed, and he was there, "We're all suffocating, dying, and on the screen it says, 'See you on the other side,' along with all the Illuminati symbols and the praying hands sucking our energy from us."
Oh. Just right out in the open. Oh.
And we're going to get into energy harvesting a little bit later. So while mainstream media dismiss these theories as baseless conspiracy thinking, the rapid spread and widespread acceptance of sacrifice narratives suggests a public intuition that something deeper is happening. Whether these specific theories are accurate or not, they reflect genuine concern about the price of fame and the forces that control our entertainment industry. And when you, again, pastors warning congregations like years in advance before the actual person comes out and admits it. And those same celebrities, again, use the exact same language, sacrifice. It becomes harder to dismiss these concerns as just mere theory. But the sacrifice narrative are just one piece of a larger puzzle. Because if there really is a coordinated effort to control the entertainment industry through occult means, then we should expect to see that control manifested in other ways as well. And that's exactly what we find when we look at how the industry has normalized occult symbolism through its biggest and most watched events. So, if you want to understand occult symbolism and how it's been normalized in mainstream entertainment, look no further than major award shows and halftime performances. These events watched by millions of people. And here's the thing, because there's the thing with like the Illuminati and like there's the Simpsons where like they have to tell you what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And that somehow washes them clean of any guilt or responsibility because we told you we were going to do this.
Yeah, it's like a weird karmic thing where it's like, well, you asked for it basically because you consented to it.
Yeah, we told you we were going to do this. We didn't say when, but we told you this was coming, and you just kept on going along with us on it. So, like, you're complicit in this, is how they view it. If this is all real, that's how
they
they're...
believe that it like balances their punishment.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. So they do it in places that they know millions of people are going to watch. Like, they're going to have a good audience to do this at. So things like halftime shows, award shows, They've become showcases for imagery and themes that would have been considered shocking or blasphemous just decades ago. Madonna's 2012 Super Bowl halftime show serves as a great case study on this. So, the performance featured elaborate Egyptian and Roman imagery, with Madonna entering on a throne wearing a horned headdress reminiscent of ancient goddess worship. The show included extensive eye symbolism, particularly the all seeing eye associated with secret society imagery and pyramid formations created by dancers and stage design. The performance culminated with the phrase world peace illuminated on the field, but the context suggested peace through submission to a new world order rather than genuine harmony. The Egyptian symbolism was particularly significant. In ancient Egyptian religion and imagery, they play central roles in Freemasonry, as we've covered in past shows with Albert Pike and all that. Uh, but here's what's really telling. This wasn't some underground performance or fringe artistic expression. This was a Super Bowl halftime show, one of the most watched television events in America. That one was seen by 100 million people.
Oh.
And the response from mainstream media wasn't shock or concern about the occult imagery. It was celebration of Madonna's artistic vision and the powerful performance.
That's what they always.
In 2014, at the Grammy Awards, Katy Perry's Dark Horse performance took things even further. Perry emerged from a crystal ball inside a witch's cauldron. She was performing surrounded by dancers in demon-like costumes and featured a broomstick that transformed into a mechanical horse.
Artistic choice.
A lot of artistic choices in one specific direction. The performance ended with Perry being burned at the stake.
Oh, God.
An imagery directly referencing witch trials and occult persecution.
Okay.
The performance generated significant controversy, with religious groups calling it satanic and blasphemous. But what's significant is that the Grammy Awards, one of the most prestigious events in the music industry, chose to feature such explicitly occult imagery during primetime television.
Maybe it is energy farming. I also, is this a good time for an aside?
Yes.
Okay.
Always a good time for an aside.
I just want to point out that even if this isn't explicit, even if they're not, which I think they are demonic, but like, how lazy is this? It's such a lazy, because
Oh, you're saying if it's just artistic?
yeah, it's just a lazy choice, because if you go dark, if you go grinding on Satan, okay, and you have all the right friends and you have the money and stuff, it's just a lazy artistic decision, because anybody who criticizes it, you're just going to say religious hypocrisy, artistic, you know what I mean? Like, you're just going to say, if you do something more outward positive. Oh my gosh, remember that country guy? I don't listen to country. He was like, he played some song out in the woods and it went viral, and it was all about how he's like sick of being taxed, and like it was just like how people need to get along. And Oliver Anthony.
Okay.
Okay, remember that? How much hate that guy got?
Yes.
How he was like, you're judging welfare people, and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, if you do something positive, it just like opens the door for like POSs to be like, oh, you're hateful and you're blah, blah, blah. But if you do something explicitly like satanic, you're almost like immune to criticism, because you can always just say, oh, you don't get it. Oh, look at you. You're exact. It's your. Our culture has made it such where that it's just, and to me, it's just laziness, because it's like you don't really have to say anything. You just have to be shocked. It's the whole shock, shock entertainment. It's like, or like YouTube pranks or whatever. It's just like it's lazy.
Yeah.
It's lazy because you could just do it, call it artistic. And I think a lot of like modern art's like that too. It's like,
Yes.
it's like, dude, you stapled a banana to the wall. Like, and then it's like, well, you just don't get it. It's like, no, I get it. I get it, because I'm looking at, you know what I mean? It's like, and then if you're like, well, that's not even art, they're just like, well, you don't understand art. Like, there's infinite deflection when you do something lazy.
Yes.
Infinite deflection.
Yes.
When you try to go big and you try to like do something that like glorifies art and glorifies God, it's way easier to be like, that's corny. That's like, ew, because, whatever. You could just call someone judgmental if they don't like your, but that's my aside.
Well, and you're not. Yeah, you're right on all that. Like that's exactly what's happening, and it's just that's the common defense of all of it. It's just like, oh, you don't understand it. It's like, but you're
You
doing.
understand it, you're a hater.
This isn't original what you're doing at all. Like
No,
you're formulaic with
it is.
demonic things.
Right. But it's special and scary. And,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, it's not.
And I think maybe an epitome of that, and actually that's a really good lead in, and this is one I know we've talked about. Sam Smith
Oh, yeah.
and Kim Petra in 2023, their performance of Unholy at the 2023 Grammy Awards.
That was the song I was talking about earlier. I didn't remember.
Yes.
I couldn't remember the guy's name.
Sam Smith.
Yeah.
Featured red lighting, devil imagery, and fire effects. Smith wore a hat with horns, while Petra performed in a cage surrounded by performers in devil costumes. CBS tweeted, "We are ready to worship."
Oh
For
my
the
God.
performance. Before it even happened, CBS came out and said, "We are ready to worship." It
CBS
hasn't
Paramount.
happened yet. They already knew what was going to happen,
Yeah.
and they said, "We are ready to worship."
All coordinated.
Yep,
Yeah.
that part right there. Yep.
So if you watch that and you're like, this is trash, which I told my friend, if you watch this and you're like, this is trash, the infinite deflection.
Mhm.
Oh, that's hateful. It's like, and then, but had he just, whatever, that's my opinion.
So, of course, the conservative side of churches all called this, religious groups called it satanic, which it was.
It literally is.
It literally
What do you
was.
call it
It's
when
the
you're-
definition of satanic. And the mainstream media's response to these controversies is very telling. Rather than questioning why major entertainment events consistently feature occult and satanic imagery, most coverage focused on defending the performance as artistic expression or just dismissing criticism as religious extremism.
This stuff makes me want to go back to the Middle Ages sometimes. Like, just make a law. I understand why in simpler times they would have stuff like that because it'd just be like, nah,
No, you can't do that.
I ain't paying millions of dollars to have you do that.
Nope.
No, you got to write something for the church or
No, this is truly just normalization of occult symbolism.
Yeah.
Just across the board. And it's a major shift. It is. It's a big shift.
I feel like this all started, and you could be like, oh, but it's the Elvis paradox. I've coined this term. So this will be a good clip. All right, so the Elvis paradox, in my opinion, I wrote a short story about it. I'll see if I dig it out. So Elvis gets on TV, he shakes his hips. All right. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, we don't need kids seeing that. Next thing you know, you're going to have people having sex on TV or whatever. Okay. Everything.
They called that shot.
They called it.
Mhm.
But and that's completely what a lot of these concerts are. It's just like Miley Cyrus like humping a person. Okay.
Yep.
So completely
Or
called
wrecking
it.
ball or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Completely was like, if you allow that, like, this is the way it's going to go. They completely saw it. But then what they said was like, no, you're exaggerating. Okay, then the next thing comes out, like years. Then you got like literally people humping each other with big, dildos or whatever. And then somebody goes, this is where the paradox comes in. Maybe it's more of a fallacy. And you say, hey, that's messed up. Like kids are going to see that. Like this is not art. This is pornographic. And they say, well, that's what they said about Elvis. But they were right about Elvis.
Yes.
That's the paradox.
Yes.
That's where it's like, how are you defending from me being right because I was right? Because I'm right 2 times in a row. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's just like a snow. Ugh.
I think it's gaslighting.
Well, what it is in reality, like the Sam Smith thing, I know that girl at the time.
Well, I guess it's not gaslighting. That's not the right term for it. Man, what would you call that? I don't even know what
No,
you
there
call
isn't. That's an element of gaslighting.
Is it?
To basically tell someone, yeah, because if you witness something with your own eyes and you're like, look, every decade
It's going to get worse.
Sluttier, so therefore
This
it's going
is
to get
what
worse.
this is going to lead.
And they're
Yeah, I
like,
guess that would be
that's
gaslighting.
crazy. You're not, because you're essentially saying that you haven't just witnessed a pattern. So
Yes.
there is an element of gaslighting. So like with the Sam Smith thing, I remember arguing. First of all, this girl was not gay. She was straight. She had her house had shrines to gay stuff.
It's because it's like become its own religion.
She
in
had like a
weird way.
dresser in her bedroom with like a "Love Is Love" cutout thing, and I'm like, oh, are you like bi? She's like, no, I just support. And it's like, you have this weird
But
shrine.
it's in your house.
You have this
Why is it
you
in
have
your
this
house?
weird shrine.
Nobody sees it.
So it's like, so you're telling me that when you listen to that Sam Smith song, the words are just going in one ear, not the other, and there's nothing about that message you support, and there's nothing about, and it's like, so it's the same with this other stuff. It's like when people see, someone riding around on a broomstick or getting burned, like there's something in them because either they're demonically like oppressed or they're on a certain side of a certain issue. There's something in them that likes that and
Mhm.
identifies with that, and it makes them feel safe. It it's a big cultural kind of contract we have where we just ignore each other's sin and we ignore each other's, and so there's a safety in that,
Well,
and like
it's
we're all
because I think that movement boiled it down to the ultimate sin. It's pride.
yeah, we're all
And it becomes like its own religion of pride. And the symbol for that has become gay.
right. Oh wow, we're gonna get it for this one.
You know what? They're already getting us
They're
anyway.
already
At
getting
this
us.
point, I don't even care anymore. We tried to pull it back. We tried to say things the right way.
But there
They
isn't.
kept on hitting us. I'm done.
I think you were right
And
about.
people are gonna find this. Are gonna find this. You're our people. This is what we're doing.
But what you said,
Please support the show.
It's the gaslighting that gets me because it's like just admit that seeing this imagery like makes you feel good.
Yes.
Just admit that it's doing something to you. Like if it's art and it's good art, then just tell me that imagery is doing something to you, and then let's have that conversation. Don't be like it's meaningless. It's the beat. It's not meaningless. Otherwise you wouldn't constantly gravitate towards it.
Well-
Otherwise it wouldn't be every freaking event, every concert, it's like it's clearly not meaningless. It's clearly not a random choice.
Well, and the deeper I've gotten into this, like I like definitely entertainment is one I've become a lot more conscious about what I consume in music and movies
Right.
and TV
You
because
have, yeah.
that discernment has gotten to that level where I'm like, I see what they're doing and I see what it does to me. But if you're not aware of that, it's so easy to fall down that rabbit hole.
Oh, it's bothered me for a few years. Because
Like-
even going out to like a bar, like with friends, and it's like if they're playing a bunch of stuff like that, like Katy Perry, or like it's just like it's not uncomfortable.
You feel it in your soul.
You feel it in your soul, and you're like, this just doesn't feel like the place I need.
Yeah,
to
that's
be.
discernment.
Yeah,
That's exactly what that is. That is literally a discernment going like, this is not good.
right.
The deeper I go, the more conscious I am of like, especially with music, the lyrics.
Oh yeah,
We're not even going into the binaural beats that they're putting in it because I definitely see that. If you start looking into what like 808 beats do to your brain,
really.
yes, and maybe we'll do an episode on just like frequencies at some point. There's a lot of stuff to that. It's very, I don't know if deprogramming is the right word.
Well, at a certain point, like all the heavy. Now we sound like old people, but at a certain point, like the deep, heavy bass and stuff, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be doing something.
No, in my defense, still have a system in my truck. Like, no, I
yeah.
love bass.
Oh, I make 808 music.
Like,
I have an MC 808.
and
when I play my keytar videos, I'm playing on
And
top of an 808.
with 808s and without research in front of me, it can put you in almost it does something to your brain that I don't want to say trance like, but depending on what you're putting on top of it, it's opening something. So whether it's positive or negative, it's that frequency is doing something to your brain, which is why it's a very popular beat, especially in mainstream music, is because it kind of makes it so there's a pathway. And man, now I'm like, I wish I had like more research in front of me right now on like frequencies. We'll do one at some point.
I could go. We're in danger of a rabbit hole because I do make music and like one of my favorite.
You make amazing music. I don't know where people to direct people.
There's nowhere to go. Someday I'll put something out.
He sends it to me. It's amazing. He doesn't send it to anybody.
But one of my YouTube rabbit holes and one of my like Wikipedia rabbit holes every once in a while I'll go down is like why does songs sound so much the same nowadays? And like I could go down that rabbit hole hardcore.
It's a pattern. It's because
Well, it is.
it's a formula.
It's a lot. There's a lot to it. Like it's everything from music's gotten like it gets significantly louder every decade due to compression. It's the instruments. Everything's being replaced by electronic samples, and that actually makes it so you only write songs in like limited keys
Well,
because the basses can only do. It has to
yes.
do with the instrument. It's auto-tune.
As somebody who's very into car stereo, has always been into car stereo competition, subwoofers. You will listen to a fair amount of stuff just based on what the beat sounds like.
Mhm.
Like I never actually liked the Yin Yang Twins.
Yeah.
They were trash. Like lyrically, they were
Bass,
trash.
bro.
But that bass, like it sounded so good on us. Dum 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 dum. Yeah, like it sounds so good on a car stereo or something with a bunch of subwoofers. There's something to that.
Everything's just kind of aiming towards the same sound, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a rhythmic thing. It's a frequency thing. Man, I might.
BPMs.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big part of
It's
it.
very standard BPM
Yep.
now. Yeah.
There's like 3.
Everything's time synced. Everything's like snapped. There's nothing that's like slightly offbeat or like yeah. That's why it all sounds the same. But I would assume they're using those tools just like we said earlier with the binaural beats. If you have the technology, why wouldn't you do it? I would assume they're using those. Essentially, like the like fast food places, they'll put like an ungodly amount of like sugar in their food or something to keep you coming back. Like I assume it's the same with like music. There's little things they do. Yeah.
Yeah, that creates a euphoric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go.
No, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like this show, a half of this show is just asides.
I know.
And like the amount of things that as we talk, I'm just like, well, that's going to be a future episode. Not right. Mental note, that's a future episode. Back into all this. Somebody I've mentioned already pretty extensively, but like, let's dig into her a little bit. Lady Gaga.
Oh, yeah.
Her 2010 Alejandro video provides another example of how religious and occult imagery has been weaponized in entertainment. The video featured Gaga dressed as a nun, swallowing rosary beads.
Why?
It had inverted crosses
Yeah.
and military and bondage themes. The Catholic League condemned the video as blasphemous, with Bill Donahue calling it a deliberate assault on Catholics and Catholicism.
Which it
was.
literally is.
It literally,
You
yeah.
can't just be like, no. I
No,
put,
you
I
made
put
some,
the crucifix in a jug full of human urine, like, but it's just art. It's like, you still did that.
you picked that.
I can't burn a Quran and be like, it's art.
No, we'd be dead by now.
Oh, yeah.
They would come and get us before the CIA or whoever.
You couldn't, I bet you.
The NSA.
You would have controversy. You would have controversy if you had a Christian song and you did like a music video where you like went around and like smashed idols. I bet you they'd find something about that. They'd be like, "Oh, this is like anti this community still exists."
Oh, yeah.
in a rural part of Nambia, like it would be considered extremely hateful.
That'd be a hate crime.
Oh yeah.
So Gaga's response was truly revealing. Rather than apologizing or explaining the imagery as artistic metaphor, she embraced the controversy and used it to generate more publicity. This pattern, using religious and occult imagery to generate controversy and media attention, has become a standard marketing strategy in the
Lazy.
entertainment industry. Yeah. It's either you're moving in a direction or you're lazy.
Controversy.
I think it's kind of both.
Yeah.
It's an easy target, but also...
And it's controversial.
Yep.
That's another aspect of the laziness. It's like a lot of the clickbait, like Instagram stuff. It's like there'll always be like a purposeful like misspelling or something,
Yep.
and then somebody will comment, and then somebody else will comment and be like, "Yeah, they do that." So you click on it, then someone else will comment and be like, "I don't like this." They'll be like, "But it worked. It made you comment." It's like, dude, if we are at the point in art where commenting and saying, "I don't like this," is it's working.
It's engagement.
I know, but if we are tooling our outlets of expression that way, then like we're just gonna destroy art.
Maybe we need to start misspelling stuff. On
I know, yeah. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like that's a way to
Dude,
just
honestly,
that's a formula. That's a formula to destroy art because you're encouraging people to make things that are messed up or bad because the engagement's more important than people actually liking it.
we've had people that have come at us about misusing words and stuff on man, I wish I would have prepared for that. I'm blanking on the example. Where it was a Bible quote, but they thought I misused a word.
Oh.
And it's like, no, it's actually in this translation this way.
People need
It
to just understand that there's multiple translations at this point. Like, unless you're gonna get really in the weeds, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. My point is when you dress up like a nun and put yourself in bondage eating a rosary,
yeah,
you know
you're targeting.
you're inviting somebody to say, "Hey, that's disrespectful."
Yes.
And you know from the outset you're doing that. And then you know you're doing that for more publicity, and it's like and a lot of people, because our American mentality is, well, if it makes you $1 million, then it's inherently good, which is
Well, it's because you're doing it to a group that won't blow you up.
yes, but our mentality is anything that results in like money is good, so
Yes.
which is so dysfunctional, and it's just to me that's
You know,
laziness.
it's going great.
That's
It's going
laziness.
great.
Yeah.
It's going super great. So, to pull it back in, the question isn't whether these performances contain occult symbolism, because they clearly do. The question is why such symbolism has become so prevalent and accepted in mainstream entertainment. When millions of people, including children, are regularly exposed to imagery celebrating witchcraft, devil worship, and occult practices, it represents a form of cultural programming that operates below the level of conscious awareness.
Hmm.
And here's the thing.
It's societal gaslighting too,
Yeah,
because when the parent group comes out and says, "Hey, I don't want my kids to see that," they be like,
it's art.
"That's your problem because you didn't raise them right."
Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly what's happening.
It's
And
like
that's
I'm trying to raise them right. So
yeah, I'm fighting against you. Just
right.
yeah. So the thing is, it's not an accident. These performances, the Grammys, the Super Bowl, planned for months
Oh
in
yeah.
advance. They involve teams of creative directors, choreographers, and producers. The symbolism is deliberate, it's coordinated, and consistent across different artists and events. From a biblical perspective, this normalization of occult imagery aligns with warnings about the end times, when evil will be called good
Yep.
and good will be called evil.
That's our modern society.
Yeah, I think we're getting close. We're getting close. The entertainment's role, the industry's role in this cultural shift, it if you're ignoring it still, you're literally closing your eyes to it. And the patterns we're seeing suggest just a coordinated effort to just at this point desensitize is what it feels like.
Well, it's in my opinion, I think it goes back to the New World Order thing. I think it goes back to I think there's a lot of motivations. Like again, the laziness, the courting controversy for controversy's sake. I think it's a type of secularism that ends up becoming demonic because the target's always going to be like your basic Christianity, you know what I mean? Like that's always going to be the target that you're agitating
Yeah.
because it's the easiest target. It's the one that
And they won't blow you up.
they won't blow you up,
Nope.
and it's the one that you can point to and say, "Well, actually, you're the ones in charge. You're the ones who are like." It's a perfect little. It's a no-win scenario. Like it's a no-win kind of almost Kafka-esque. Like
It's weird how anything involving Jesus is always the punching bag, though.
that's
Again,
what I was trying to say earlier. You think in a country with this population, you think there'd be one artist on the big stations that has
why
a song about Jesus. You just think it would happen. You think that would be popular. But again, that courts controversy when peeing on a crucifix does not. You know what I mean? Like
why isn't Buddha catching flack? Why isn't
it's because we don't
any of
live
the
in,
Hindu gods catching flack?
in an alternative universe.
Why isn't Muhammad catching flack?
Yeah. Well, they'll even go in those directions and become Buddhist or become Muslim. You know what I mean? Like it's all anti. Yeah.
Yep. So it seems like a coordinated effort. If the patterns we've documented aren't just coincidence or cultural drift, then we need to talk about the obvious question. Who is actually coordinating this?
Okay.
Who has the power and influence to shape entertainment content across multiple artists, labels, and events? So we've established the patterns. The academic research confirms that these theories are widespread and taken seriously by significant portions of the population. We've seen how individuals like Jay-Z display the occult symbolism openly and consistently. We've documented the sacrifice narrative that connects suspicious celebrity deaths to career advancement. And we've shown how major entertainment events have normalized occult imagery for mainstream audiences. But here's what we haven't answered yet: who's behind it all? Because if this is really a coordinated effort, if the pattern we've documented represents more than a cultural coincidence, then there have to be people orchestrating it. People with the power and influence to shape everything from content across multiple artists, labels, entertainment companies, people who can ensure that the same symbolic themes appear consistently across different genres, generations, and even countries. The artists we've discussed tonight, Jay-Z, Kanye, Lil Wayne, Taylor Swift, they're the visible faces of this phenomenon. But they're not the puppet masters, they're the puppets. And if you want to understand what's really happening in the entertainment industry, we need to identify who's actually pulling the string. And like that pastor in Georgia warned his congregation about Kanye's sacrifice, he understood something that most people miss. He recognized that individual celebrities aren't operating independently, they're part of a system that has handlers, controllers, and the coordinators working behind the scenes to shape just how not just individual careers, but entire cultural landscapes. So, who are these puppet masters? What do they look like? How do they operate? And what's their ultimate agenda?
What do they look like?
We're going to get to that.
Okay. Oh. Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
Because
You know how that sounds, don't you?
I couldn't do all this in one episode. So,
Yeah.
I didn't tell y'all. You're going to see it in the title and you're going to know. But
We're going deeper.
this is a multi parter.
Yep.
And next time, we're going to pull back the curtain even further. We're going to introduce who those handlers are,
Oh, awesome.
the mysterious figures who work behind the scenes to guide celebrity careers and shape their entertainment content. We're going to explore the technology that they use to monitor and control not just celebrities, but the audiences themselves. And we're going to examine just how these systems operate on a global scale, coordinating occult messaging across different countries and cultures, because understanding the pattern is just the beginning. Understanding who's behind the pattern, that's where things really get interesting and terrifying, honestly. So that's where I'm going to leave it for this week, Dennis.
Wow, I'm excited.
We're already at about an hour and a half. I'm not
I'm
going to keep.
excited.
So there's going to be a part 2.
I have a guess.
There might be a part 3.
Okay, all right.
But this is gonna span out for a little bit. So stick with us, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Go to the website and support us if you can. We appreciate it. And until next week, stay paranoid.
Love you, Pat.
Love you too. Bye.